For our daily cancellation today, we have the shocking story, first reported by Action News 5 out of Memphis, of a Pizza Hut delivery driver who allegedly called a black customer the N-word. The man, whose name is Jamarius Archie, is now suing over the incident, which happened last summer in Oxford, Mississippi. And as the story goes, the delivery driver knocked on Archie's door, called him the N-word, and handed him a pizza. A press release on the website of Archie's attorney, Carlos Moore, says this: the Carlos Moore Law Group filed a lawsuit against Pizza Hut on behalf of Mr. Jamarius Archie for a disturbing incident of racial discrimination that occurred on June 25th, 2023 in Oxford, Mississippi. Mr. Archie, an African-American, was subjected to a racial slur by a Pizza Hut delivery driver captured on the Archie family's Ring doorbell camera. This unacceptable behavior has caused Mr. Archie emotional distress and harm. Attorney Carlos Moore stated, quote, "The racial discrimination experienced by Mr. Archie is reprehensible. This lawsuit aims to hold Pizza Hut accountable for the actions of their employees and to ensure that racial bias has no place in our society. Carlos Moore Law Group is dedicated to seeking justice for Mr. Archie, and he demands that the Pizza Hut take responsibility and implement changes to prevent future incidents." Now, I don't want to spoil the twist ending here and ruin all the fun, but if you're already assuming out of the gate that this must be a hoax, if you've already dismissed this claim out of hand without any further investigation whatsoever, well, you're right, of course. Obviously, a Pizza Hut delivery guy didn't randomly drop the N-word on a black customer while delivering pizzas. Like, pretty much every story of this kind that we have heard over the past 30 years has turned out to be completely made up, and this one is no different. And in fact, this is one of the rare cases where we actually have video of the incident not happening. This is video that the victim, quote unquote, who is now seeking to profit off of this non-event, has eagerly provided. So there is Ring camera footage, as mentioned, of the interaction between Jamarius Archie and the driver. And a few days ago, Archie's attorney, Carlos Moore, appeared on Roland Martin's YouTube channel and brought the footage along with him. Let's watch.
A Mississippi man says he got more than a pizza from his Oxford Pizza Hut delivery driver on June 25th, 2023. Jamarius Archie opened his door to receive his order when the white driver called him a racial slur. Take a listen.
Pizza Hut, how you doing? Good, man. Here we go, appreciate you. And let me just grab a signature if you don't mind. I know you're all paid up.
In case you missed it, we will play it again.
Pizza Hut, how you doing? Good, man. Here we go, appreciate you. And let me just grab a signature if you don't mind. I know you're all paid up.
In case we missed it, he played it again. And we did miss it. We all missed it because the "it" in this case didn't happen. It's totally imaginary. The Ring camera audio isn't the best audio, obviously, so the delivery guy's words at the end of that clip are garbled. But it's very clear simply from the tone of the interaction that he didn't say the N-word. Like, if you were tempted to believe that maybe it happened before listening to it, you would assume that okay, well, maybe something like that could have happened if there was some sort of argument, if he was angry, if they were yelling at each other, the pizza was late and the guy yells at him and he cusses him out and they cuss and then he dropped, did it. But no, that's not what happened. It's just totally normal and friendly interaction. In fact, he was far friendlier than the average customer service worker is these days. Just simply by offering a greeting and not being outwardly hostile and surly to the paying customer, he has already set himself apart from the baseline customer service standard. If I ran the Pizza Hut in Oxford, Mississippi, I would give that guy, I'd make him employee of the month, just based on that interaction. Because it's like, well, the standards are as low as they can get. I mean, the bar is pretty low, but at least he's being friendly. And we're supposed to believe that somehow the N-word was dropped at the very end of that clip, which would mean that the delivery driver said, this is what he would have said as he was handing over the pizza. "Here we go, appreciate you. Let me just grab a signature if you don't mind, N-word." So the claim, I guess, is that this Pizza Hut delivery guy just casually uses the N-word with customers as a greeting. Because that's what it would be. Like, if he actually said it there, then that's how he didn't even mean it as an insult. This is apparently just this is his way of saying hello. And if that was true, it would mean that at worst, he's guilty of using the N-word the same way that many black people use it. And this is why we have to be careful here. It's important to point out that the claim is a lie. Now, even if it's difficult to hear precisely what word or phrase he uses at the end of the clip, he obviously didn't say the N-word. But even as we call out this hoax for what it is, we should make sure that we aren't tacitly supporting the premise that if the delivery driver had said that word in that context, he would be guilty of some great moral crime. Now, to say that word would be professionally and perhaps even literally suicidal, would be a self-destructive, extremely ill-advised thing to do. He would be guilty of creating huge problems for himself and getting himself fired. But no white person actually has any moral obligation to observe the insane, totally indefensible, ridiculous rule that decrees that this word is acceptable to be used in any and every context by one race, but in no context at all by another race. I mean, the idea that the pigmentation of your skin should determine whether you're allowed to utter certain syllables in a particular combination is totally absurd. And as far as I know, without precedent in the history of the world. I can't think of any other example ever, anywhere in the world, where one single word has been imbued with this kind of mystical power. So if he did say it in a friendly way, he would only be doing what millions of people in this country do every day, and it's never considered a problem. But obviously, he didn't say it. A white delivery driver who is in the habit of saying the N-word, casually, would not be employed for very long. Like, this would not be the first time we were hearing about this. And he probably wouldn't be alive for very long. And that's why a much more sensible translation of that clip is this. Here we go. Appreciate you. Let me just grab a signature if you don't mind, will you? It also it's possible that he said there at the end. So let me grab a signature if you don't mind there. Whatever he said, there are several possible translations that are far more sensible and far more likely than the N-word. And of course, one way to clear this up would have been for the customer to ask him in the moment, like if he really thought that the guy said that word to him, why would he say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Then if he did say the N-word that openly and casually, then he would have no problem repeating it. He would probably, like, apparently if he said it in that context, it means he thinks that there's no issue. He somehow is living in the year 2024 and thinks that no one's ever told him that there's a problem with saying the word. So he would just repeat it. But the customer didn't handle it that way. Instead, he said nothing in the moment, and he pulled the Ring camera footage later that day, sent it to a lawyer, and filed a lawsuit. And speaking of the lawyer, he appeared on this YouTube show to talk about the severe emotional and psychological damage that his client has endured due to this friendly 5-second exchange with a pizza delivery guy. Watch.
Let's start with, what in the world? I almost wanted to play it a third time. Can you please tell us and help us process what we just saw? Was that real?
It was real. And like you, I could not believe my ears. I mean, this happened in 2023 in Oxford, Mississippi. This young African-American man ordered a pizza in a nice neighborhood, and it was just a normal day, and he never could have expected to be called the N-word just for ordering a pizza.
And what was, we read the statement that you posted, but, knowing your client, what was his reaction after the fact? Because it seems like such a natural transaction, but it just seems like kind of after the fact, it seems like, whoa, wait a minute, what just happened? Like, how did he process what he experienced?
Yes, it was very difficult to process. He's undergoing counseling now for what he endured, but it caught him off guard. I mean, most people, had they had any kind of forewarning, knew exactly what he said when he said it and processed it immediately, they probably would have stolen the pizza driver. But I mean, he was so shocked, he ran to his video surveillance to run it back. He had to run it back again to make sure he had heard what he heard. He showed it to his wife, and they agreed there was nothing wrong with his ears. He had been called the N-word.
Yeah, I had to double check my ears a couple of times as well.
Well, maybe you should check them a third time then. There's one clip that, one of the clip I wanted to play for you, and this is, we've already heard that he's in counseling and all that, but this is the best part. Listen.
A response I want to bring my panel in shortly, but has there been a response from Pizza Hut about how they're looking at handling this situation to date since this happened last summer?
Evidently, Pizza Hut has ratified this comment. The man is still a delivery driver in Oxford, Mississippi, and he is still free to roam the streets and deliver pizzas and call people the N-word at will. And so this is very disappointing.
Still wow, that was not something I was expecting to hear.
Did he say, I'm actually having more trouble understanding what the lawyer is saying than the delivery guy. Did he say that Pizza Hut ratified the comment? Did I hear that correctly? Pizza Hut ratified the N-word? What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think that Pizza Hut has the authority to ratify anything, but especially not the N-word, whatever that would mean. Anyway, the delivery driver is still out there. He's wandering the streets, giving out pizzas and calling people the N-word, which I guess is better than just calling them the N-word. Like, at least there's a pizza in the deal. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't. If there was someone wandering around giving out pizzas and you know, insulting you, like, I'll take the insult along with the pizza. But that's just me. The community in Oxford, Mississippi doesn't feel that way. The community is not safe. They're all locked in their homes, huddled together, trembling and afraid. Every time there's a knock at the door, they scream out in fear. It's him again. He's back with more pizzas and more racial slurs. It's like the lamest horror movie of all time. Now, we don't need to, continue analyzing this breaking news story. The guy didn't say the N-word. No honest person could interpret the exchange that way. This customer and his lawyer are grifters, hoping that Pizza Hut just throws some money at them so they go away. That's all that's happening here, clearly. But I do want you to notice just how perfunctory and unconvincing this whole performance is. The lawyer claims that the customer is in counseling over this interaction with a pizza delivery guy, but he can barely take himself seriously as he says it. In fact, the host is practically laughing through the whole thing. And he stops smiling for one moment when the lawyer mentions the guy's in counseling. And the host, that's the only time he stops grinning, because he knows he has to pretend, in counseling, sure. Of course. Of course he's in counseling. Who wouldn't be? Sure, he has PTSD over this. And then later on, they bring in some distinguished panelists to join in the conversation. They also have barely disguised smirks on their faces the whole time. The racial grievance shtick has become boring and stale, even for the people who engage in it. So boring and stale that Pizza Hut, which knows something about boring and stale things, as far as I can tell, has completely ignored this so far. They have not even responded. And I think that will be a sign that the race hustle is really over. If you can't even extort a few $100,000 out of Pizza Hut by falsely accusing an employee of saying a racial slur, that's a very bad sign for the grifters. It will mean that the world is finally taking their BS as seriously as they take it, which is not at all. And that is why they are today canceled. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.